June 18, 1815. A quiet countryside near the Belgian village of Waterloo is about to become the stage for one of the most decisive battles in world history. Here, two great forces will collide, an emperor desperate to reclaim his empire, and a coalition determined to stop him once and for all. June 18, 1815. A quiet countryside near the Belgian village of Waterloo is about to become the stage for one of the most decisive battles in world history. Here, two great forces will collide, an emperor desperate to reclaim his empire, and a coalition determined to stop him once and for all. Just months earlier, Napoleon Bonaparte had escaped exile from the island of Elba. In a stunning political comeback, he marched triumphantly across France, reclaiming his throne without firing a shot. But Europe was done with war. Powers like Britain, Prussia, Austria, and Russia vowed to defeat him permanently. With armies mobilized, Napoleon acted quickly. His plan? Strike fast, divide his enemies, and crush them before they could unite. Facing Napoleon stood two men, the Duke of Wellington, leader of the British-led Allied army, calm, strategic, and known for his iron discipline, and Field Marshal Gebhard Leberecht von Blücher, commander of the Prussian army, relentless, stubborn, and fiercely determined to defeat Napoleon. Their partnership would shape the outcome of the battle, but only if they could join forces in time. At around 11:30 a.m., French cannons shattered the morning calm. Napoleon launched a massive assault on Wellington's lines. The fighting was brutal. French infantry stormed the farmhouse of Hougoumont, a critical position on Wellington's right flank. What Napoleon expected to fall in minutes held out for hours, draining thousands of French soldiers in a costly struggle. By afternoon, the battlefield was chaos. Wellington's troops held firm but were stretched thin. Napoleon saw his chance. He ordered an enormous cavalry charge. Waves of armored horsemen thundering across muddy fields, aimed at smashing the British squares. But Wellington's infantry held their formations. Musket volleys and bayonets drove back the French again and again. Still, the French pressure grew. Napoleon prepared to deliver the decisive blow. But suddenly, distant gunfire echoed from the east. The Prussians had arrived. Blücher, bruised and injured from a previous battle, refused to retreat. His army marched all day to reach Waterloo. As they poured onto the battlefield, they struck Napoleon's flank, forcing him to split his forces. The tide began to turn. Desperate to break Wellington before the Prussians could overwhelm him, Napoleon committed his elite troops, the Imperial Guard, feared across Europe and never before defeated in battle. They marched up the ridge toward the Allied line, banners flying, drums pounding.
Now, Maitland, now's your time.
British guards unleashed devastating volleys. The Imperial Guard faltered, then broke. Panic rippled through the French ranks. For the first time in history, the Imperial Guard was in retreat. With the Guard defeated and Prussian forces closing in, the French army collapsed. Soldiers fled the field in chaos. Cannons were abandoned. Napoleon's final hope evaporated. The Battle of Waterloo was over. Waterloo ended more than a battle. It ended an era. Napoleon would abdicate once more, this time forever, and spend the rest of his life in exile on St. Helena. For Europe, Waterloo ushered in decades of relative peace. For history, it became a symbol of decisive victory and crushing defeat. And for the world, it remains one of the most famous battles ever fought, where ambition met its match on a muddy field in Belgium.